Greetings everybody,
It's the Madman!
and today we're going to talk about the best cards on the upcoming Fortune the Barrens expansion according to my opinion, which is always right. I think, for being a wild player, I have a deep understanding, knowledge, how this game works, which cards are good, which cards are broken. So my top 10 list, it's accurate. Keep in mind that I probably rate those cards based on how good they might be in wild, not in standard. Everybody talks about the cards of standard, Regis, Dekkster, whoever you watch on YouTube, they talk about the standard impact of cards. Well, what about wild? As far as I know, Ruffle doesn't look at cards, so here's me. First you got Death Speaker Blackthorn. Now while in wild you always play Odd Demon Hunter to hit face, what if a control Demon Hunter is actually good? This card, in addition to the boss that gets summoned from your hand for free, as well as all the different Death Rattle minions that are available in wild, this could be a really good card for an upcoming deck archetype, Death Rattle Demon Hunter, the DDH. Imagine this. You have Rotten Applebomb and Double Sludge Belcher, and that gets summoned because of that. And because you're Demon Hunter and you're winning on the board anyways, because every single card you have is broken no matter what you do, this thing might just give you a lot of value and a lot of tempo. And then next turn, hit face win. Or, which might be more realistic, this card won't see play at all. I hope that we do see Death Rattle Demon Hunter, which is fun and control heavy, and not just hit face and win. Not too sure about that, but this card would be one of the ones that, at least for the card itself, is a lot of value. Like in the best case, you spend 7 mana and get 15, as well as the part where you draw 3 things from your deck and put them into play. The value of this card is as high as Ultimate Infestation, so maybe we see this card, or we don't. I'm probably going to test this card when I return to streaming, which by the way is next week on the 29th of March, and when the expansion drops, I'm gonna make that work. Next we got a 2-mana 2/4, the Far Watch Post. Even though it can't attack, after your opponent draws a card, you increase the cost of that card by 1. Meaning if you just look at the mana total here, you spend 2 mana, but the opponent loses 1. So this is a 1-mana 2/4 with the upside of the effect happening over and over. I actually think a card like this might see play in Token Druid or in aggressive decks. Think about it this way. If you play an aggressive deck and you have a well-stated 2-drop just there to be annoying, well, it's a lot easier to win. If every card your opponent draws costs +1 mana, then they can't really play the cards when they want to play them. On top of that, you can play 2 of those. So you could coin into this, into another one, and then you might not be able to attack, but your opponent's cards cost +2 mana. I think this card is going to be really annoying and really good. Next, we get Flurgle the Firemancer. After you play Murloc, deal 1 damage to all enemies. So this is pretty much this funny card for Demon Hunter, but it doesn't have to be an outcast card, just the Murloc. And turns out a Murloc Shaman, where you have like Underbelly Angler, which gives you a Murloc, into more Murlocs. There are a bunch of Murlocs. So the moment this card sticks on the board and you have it just once, you could pretty much clear the entire enemy's board every single turn and deal a lot of damage to their face. And that is going to be good, I think. I think Murloc Shaman is going to be a tier 1 deck, at least tier 2 in wild. Do me one favor, don't play the quest. The quest and Murloc Shaman is not good, the card sucks. You don't want to play an aggressive deck and waste your turn 1. Makes no sense. Then a pretty boring card, Knight of Atonement. Anointment, never mind. 1/1/1, draw a Holy Spell. Why is this card good? Let me tell you. We all play Kobold Librarian when you play Warlock in any deck. Now this one doesn't deal 2 damage to your face and misses 1 attack, but it draws something specific. Not just a random card from the top of your deck, but something specific. If you draw Librarian of Wisdom next turn, because of this card, that is really good. And you can even draw this card by using something like Crystology. So you have Crystology into Eldor and this thing, and then you draw the Wisdom, which buffs your stuff for 1 or 0 mana, and you can just play Librarian Paladin a lot faster than before. It's a pretty simple effect, nothing special, but keep in mind a 1-mana card sees a lot more play than a 5-mana card. Getting to turn 5 in wild can be really hard sometimes because you die on turn 4. But this card being a 1-mana card, at least you play it. Twice in most Paladin decks, I assume. Then we get Morshan Elite, 5-mana 4/4 Taunt. Battlecry, if your hero attack this turn, summon a copy of this. Why is that good? Let me tell you. If you play something like Taunt Warrior with Fireplume Sard, where you gotta summon 7 Taunt minions, it's not guaranteed for you to have the weapon equipped, but if you happen to have a weapon and you buff your stuff in your hand, which is really easy with cards like Into the Fray, then this card might be a 5-mana 20/20 with Taunt. And in all honesty, despite certain cards in the last expansion and like in TGT being really useless, with this specific card, those 2 spells might make sense. Think about it, on turn 3 you play that, on turn 4 you have a weapon equipped, on turn 5, 18/18 and Taunt. Will that happen? Maybe. Will I make it happen? You bet. After the first watch post, here's the next one. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 2/2 Grunt. It can't attack as a 3-mana 3/5, but after your opponent plays a minion, you summon a 2/2. Let me tell you why this is the most broken card in this set. If you play Lightning Bloom, so you play Shaman or you play Druid, and you play this card on turn 1, you won the game. I don't try to joke here. This is as good, if not better, than Vicious Fledgling, which if you played that on turn 1, you kind of won the game. Every time your opponent plays a minion, you get a 2/2. So whenever they summon something, you get something to trade into what they summoned. If you get this in the first couple turns, I think you really just win the game because of that. Now I might be 100% wrong on that, but I think both watch posts together are going to be in a tier 1 deck. Unless the opponent goes first, they already have a minion with 5 attack, you play this and it just dies without effect. But even then it deals 3 damage. That's the good thing. Like, your opponent has to remove that. That minion has taunt. And we will see if I'm right in about a week. Then, and I'm really biased here, Nero Fireblade for Warlock. If your deck is empty, summon a portal that fills your board with 3/2 imps. I once got Lakari Sacrifice on Golden, and the card sucks hard. When you play it and you finish the quest, you summon a portal for 5 mana that then summons 2 3/2 imps at the end of your turn. And that sucks hard. Even if you get that done, you don't win the game because of that. Nero, though, makes it so that you can draw your deck insanely fast, which, by the way, if you play something like Discard Warlock, might take like 5 to 6 turns. Like, really, sometimes on turn 5 or 6, your deck is empty. And you could just drop this card and your board is full. That could be a really powerful effect. Or it turns out destroying your own deck in Warlock, where you have cards that synergize with destroying your deck, is complete garbage because you destroy those cards. I think this is kind of the same level of Discard Warlock, where it's random what you discard. And it's also random what you destroy. But if you destroy your deck, you get there faster. You might even destroy Nero, and then your deck is empty. And you have no Nero. And then you just lose. You could think about this card as a 50% version of Chef Nomi. You summon your board full of 3 attack minions instead of 6 attack minions, so maybe a Chef Nomi into Nero combo Warlock is going to be a tier 1 deck? Probably not, but I will play it. Pretty boring card next, just Oil Rig Ambusher. It's Eviscerate for free, and you don't need to combo that. If you draw it this turn, deals 4 damage, which is basically Cloud Prince, 4/4 with some extra damage. It's easier to pull off, it has an effect guaranteed, and you might even Shadow Stab that. Just overall a good card. Then we got some water, Refreshing Spring Water. It's a 0 mana card that draws you 2. It's Pot of Greed, but it's actually Pot of Greed. Draw 2 cards, refresh 2 mana crystals for each spell drawn. Drawing spells in Mage is really easy. There's also this one deck archetype, I think it's called Spell Only Mage, where you only play spells. So this card is 4 mana, draw 2 cards, gain the 4 mana back. It is Pot of Greed. Obviously, in Reno decks or on any other Mage deck, you have to get lucky to draw 2 spells with this card specifically, so in Secret Mage, probably won't see play. But for Spell Only Mage, it's Pot of Greed. And after saying Pot of Greed 5 times, I think you get why this card is good. And lastly, the SCB, the Scabs Cutter Butter. This card is -2 mana basically. Combo the next 2 cards you play this turn cost 3 less, meaning for 4 mana you get 6 mana, so you get 2 coins for free basically. So I wish I could make some intricate explanation here why this card is good, but you see like it costs 4 and then you get 6 back, meaning you get 2 in return. So this card is probably good. Now to 2 honorable mentions, cards I wanted to include that I'm not too sure about though if they're really going to be that impactful. Barrens Trapper, 3 mana 2/4, your death rattle cards cost 1 less. This is as good as Mech Whopper, I think, maybe even better. To be fair, maybe not better because, you know, mechs have magnetized, so you actually put those mechs that are cost reduced into other mechs that are already in play. But you can play 2 of those and you have Death Rattle Synergy in Demon Hunter and any deck ever. I just think anything that is Sorcerer's Apprentice, Mech Whopper, whatever reduces the cost of cards in your hand is really good. That's one of those. That's the Barrens Man. And the Barrens Man, he puts you into the trap and then he summons minions. Injured Marauder. This is a 4 mana, gain 6 armor, 5/10 taunt. Why? Oaken summons and Druid. First you used to play the Golem, then you played the Hacklebot, then you played Zoldrak, and now you play that. Think about it this way in Druid. When you play Oaken summons, you summon Vargheth from your deck. You summon a 2/6 with an annoying effect to cast the exact same spell again you just casted. Then you get another 6 armor, making it 12, and you summon a 5/10 taunt on turn 4. This would just mean, if you happen to get Vargheth into that card, you gain 12 armor, you gain 7/16 in stats, and you still have Vargheth on the board, without any overload effect. So for Druid, this card is going to be busted. And those were all the cards that I think are going to be top tier from this expansion. Now keep in mind, when you have the opportunity to craft cards, so in about a week from now, don't craft anything based on my opinion. I play this game for fun and I own all the cards anyways. I can't lose here. If you're limited on dust, please wait a week, or at least like a day or so, and see what is obviously broken to then craft that. I don't want you guys to lose dust. And with those good cards out of the way, tomorrow we're going to look at the worst cards, and then in 2 days at the best designed cards on this expansion. Maybe you want to see custom cards, maybe you want to see Expansion Showdown. And take care.